Hey Rose, today we will talk about quite interesting journey. So it's my journey for the last, I don't know, 10 months or 11 months. Since I joined my kin, I made the jump from the self-sovereign identity to the space of the personal artificial intelligence and personal knowledge graphs and all those things. This is a longer journey. When I just started with the SSI and I was hooked to the verifiable credentials, but in some point I just realized that we could not VCify everything, and we all in SSI quite often forget about the main thing, that it's a user-centric ecosystem. So everything is around user, and user is not just the holder of the VCs. User have his needs. User usually wants to solve his problems and don't care about the technology at all. And quite often you don't need a VC, or you don't care that you have a VC. You just want to make the app working, and for working app we usually need data and data management. And for working up in artificial intelligence, we usually need data too. And this kind of data actually it's the semantic memory. And in a majority of the researchers, we see that LLMs and RAG systems work extremely well with the personal knowledge graphs and knowledge graphs in general. And we have a lot of these graph neural networks, length graph, and all of those things. So it's a bulletproof that, for semantic memory, it's quite suitable to have the knowledge graphs. For the personal artificial intelligence, it's quite suitable to have the personal knowledge graph actually, and how the personal knowledge graph differ from the classical enterprise knowledge graphs, because it's not just smaller version of the enterprise graph. We could see it that we take the enterprise graph or open data graph and filter it to the user needs, and somehow we get the knowledge graph or personal knowledge graph, but it's not really true. So the personal knowledge graph have a lot of interesting properties. First of all, the center of the knowledge graph, it's the user. It's clear, we all know it, but we have a lot of challenges in the space of data storages, because they needs to be embeddable, they needs to be able to run on device, they needs not to kill the user battery, by the way, and still have ability to query the data in a structured way. And we still need the ability to be decentralized, multi-device, and all those things. And that's the current challenge that we really try to solve in my kin right now together with team. And it's quite interesting journey. Maybe I will share some of this journey in the near future. But another quite challenging topic in the personal knowledge graphs lay in a ontology space, in a semantics. Because in enterprise graph, you usually have the organization that have the clear purpose and have the clear set of the business domains that you could map, and then you could drive ontology out of it, and you are done. And your ontology is quite clear. And if you do the drugs, then it's some drugs and disease based. If you sell the stuff, then you have the catalog of products. But if you go to the personal domain, okay, so every person probably connect with other persons, so it's the social interaction domain. You have some lifetime events, and maybe in different cultures we have different important events in our life, but we could maybe create the ontology for the events, and then it's the end of the story, because practically every individual is unique with their unique hobbies, interests, work, and so on. And even we treat completely different what the type of relations mean for us, and what the partnership mean, what the love mean, and all of the philosophical questions we could not easily categorize. So it's mean that it's extremely hard to define ontology for the personal knowledge graphs, and it's extremely hard to define the structured data for something that doesn't have the ontology and structure. And it's a challenge itself. So we need the artificial intelligence to be smart enough to dynamically derive the ontologies from the stream of the data that form ontology over the time, and then revalidate the graph, enrich the graph, and then show us something new, and pop up to the user and say, you have this type of information, let's try to work with it. So it's quite interesting and big topic itself. Another big topic that if in enterprise graphs you try to slot filling the concrete entities, and you require that if you have person, you have these 10 fields, and all these 10 fields should be filled by the system to proceed further. In the personal knowledge graphs, quite often you have partially fulfilled data, because we know that you have a friend Simon, or maybe your colleague Simon, but maybe we don't know his birthday yet, and it's not so important right now. So maybe it will be important in the future. So we need to keep the entity half filled, but proceed with some operations that maybe do not require this data, and refill this data later. And it's really build a lot of complexity around. So the personal knowledge graphs, they challenging because of the open ontology and partially filled data. So that's the two big topics that you need to be ready, and you need to design the data accordingly to this space that really could enrich your ontology, and really could quickly show you what needs to be fulfilled to do the certain operations, and what needs to be maybe taken out to do some other things. So it's quite interesting challenge. I will share some cool stuff and cool research around this stuff, but we could not treat the personal knowledge graphs as same as the enterprise graphs. And we need the personal knowledge graphs and structured data storages for the sovereign persons if we want to have artificial intelligence empowered applications, for sure. So we need to solve these challenges as a community, not only in a self-sovereign identity space, but in a personal assistant space too. So if you want to know more about this, subscribe to my channel, subscribe to my Medium blog, follow me and ask the questions. I'm always happy to talk with you. Choose.